Welcome to Where You Live for the month of August. I'm Mary Ruth Harris. You're watching Shaw TV. We are on the brand new ship that is making its way between Comox and Powell River, and joining me is Captain Michael Smith. What is it that you like about this particular ship?
Well, it's modern technology. It's new. It has that fresh car smell, which is a very nice thing to have. But mostly it allows us to do our job to our fullest capacity. We've got the technology now that lets us do everything that we need to do without being hampered by essentially having older equipment. So now we can double end the vessel, for example. We can go in and out. We can save a lot of time that way. We can deal with weather.
So there's no turning around.
There's no turning around.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I'm looking around at the screens and everything is digital and high tech, and it's pretty impressive.
Well, it is. But because we know that computers don't always work, we do actually have generally an analog backup for everything. So we have the old steam gauges, which our officer over there is pointing at.
Awesome.
So that in case the digital stuff doesn't work, we still can go back to the old gauges. But the great thing about the digital information, it gives us lots more information to be able to drive the ship in the way we want to.
Okay. And I noticed when they were boarding us, we were on the upper deck, we weren't on the lower deck. And I guess the lower deck was sealed below us already when we got on. Is that we all loaded on one side?
Yeah, we sometimes load, all depending on what the balance of the ship is. Our loading officer, as the ship is being loaded, will balance that. They'll check. They'll say, okay, I've got a heavy truck on that side. That means I need to balance one heavy truck with maybe 10 cars on the other side. Sometimes one heavy truck will be like 40 cars. So it all depends on the cargo that you're carrying, and sometimes for the weather, if we can anticipate the weather we're going across, the wind will push us over, so we can kind of prepare for that by be leaning into the wind a little bit.
Really?
Once we get out into the straight, the wind will bring us back straight up.
Now, what is it about this particular ship that you prefer, other than it's new, over the older ships?
Well, for me, principally, there's two things. It has the ability to maneuver is a lot better. So it doesn't necessarily have more power. It has a little bit more speed, but it's got a great deal more maneuverability. The other vessel had just two propellers at one end, a very small bow thruster, and we were limited by weather. You were limited by sea conditions. This ship is a lot more capable that way. So when we're coming into the dock or out of the dock, or even simply maneuvering, it's just a whole lot more maneuverable.
And is that because of the shape of the hull?
It's because of the way the propulsion system is. Instead of having two propellers at one end, we have one at each end of the ship, and they can turn around 360 degrees. So I can put one way and do it the other way, and I can move the ship sideways if I want. I could never do that with the old vessel. Or I can turn it around on the spot.
All right.
I can do whatever I like.
Now, is the shape of the hull different, though?
It is very different. The old one was very fat and broad. If you want to say it, it's kind of wide and long. This one tends to be much narrower and sharper, and it lets it cut through the waves a lot faster. It's a lot better in weather, but it does give a different ride. It gives a very bumpy ride. And we were talking a little earlier. The analogy I used was compare an old car from the 70s. Very soft suspension. It's nice for the passengers, but you wouldn't want to go around the corner very fast in that.
Right.
And this one is much more like a sports vessel. It has a very stiff, tight suspension. It wants to stay flat and level all the time, which means it's fast, it's good for maneuvering, but it will feel different for the passengers.
It completely feels different, and there's a lot more of a roll, like a regular roll, like not once in a while. We're talking like regular.
It's quite a bit of movement.
It takes a little bit of time to get used to.
It does.
That stability.
And we have a lot of regular passengers here. I think quite quickly we'll get comfortable with it. And same with our crew. It took our crew a few days to go, okay, this ship moves differently.
Okay. Now, this is the beginning of our show, Where You Live, and at the end of the show, we are going to talk to you again. We're going to go down one level, I guess, to the
engine control room.
Engineer control room, okay. And it looks, I had a sneak peek, and it's very space age looking. All right, well, thank you so much for showing us the bridge. This is very impressive, and we'll catch up to you at the end of the show.
Excellent, thanks.
You're watching Where You Live. I'm Mary Ruth Harris. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Where You Live. I'm Mary Ruth Harris. We are off the brand new ferry, and now we've arrived at the brand new library. With me is Chief Librarian Terry Nareau. This is spectacular. You must be over the moon.
We're really happy how it came out, and the community's been very happy. We've been getting great feedback since we opened last Tuesday.
Okay. Now, how many people did you have on the first day?
First day we had slightly over 1,200 people visit, which is about almost four times our normal kind of visits.
And you had the room for them.
Yeah, we had the room, and it seemed about 10 times the normal books. We ran out of cart space, and had books being returned because we've been closed for 3 weeks.
Right, of course. Now, what is your favorite part about the new library? What's your favorite new little niche?
The favorite part I watch is the people sitting and actually starting to use it as a community space. So coming in and meeting, and they're just having a great time.
And there's a coffee shop.
Yeah, so people come in and they're getting coffee, and it's being used the way we expected it to be used. It's a place for people to come and get together.
And they're sitting in the comfy chairs, and they're having are they browsing the books and taking them over there and reading?
Yeah, we're browsing books, reading magazines, coming in for newspapers, bringing their own computers. The tables over on this side were all full of people working on their own computers, doing work.
Oh, great. Cool. Now, I noticed you've got your computer lab over in the corner, which is quite unique. You've got how many different stations?
There's 9 public stations there now,
Okay.
and we'll see if that's enough. It's been pretty tight over the last week.
Okay.
We'll see if that continues.
All right. And now one of the things I noticed is this beautiful cabinetry, and in the front is a carving. Can you tell us about the carving?
Yeah, it's a local carver, Ivan Rapetsky, First Nations.
Okay.
It's Frog, and Frog stands for knowledge, and the tongue out stands for storytelling. So it's very appropriate for a library. The copper it's got on it is also signifies wealth.
Okay.
So as he says, wealth of knowledge.
Oh, excellent. Now, you put a post of that on your Facebook. Tell us what
We
happened.
did. That was kind of amazing. We posted it when Ivan first brought it over. We did a picture of it. And we ended up with just about 19,000 views, which for us is a lot because the best previous one was 1,900.
Wow.
So it was very popular.
Well, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And the cabinetry is just spectacular. Was that locally made?
Yeah, that was locally made.
Okay.
Leo Zagwin did that, and the copper on the front. Again, that's the mountainscape for Powell River is etched in the copper.
Amazing. And then the coffee shop cabinet, was that made by the same fellow?
No, it was a different local vendor.
Okay.
So what we've got there is a Wildwood.
It's
made
beautiful.
those. Yeah, these are really nice work.
Really, really, really pretty and very appropriate for Powell River. And you've kept all of the columns natural, which is
Yeah,
great.
the
You
ceiling
didn't
worked
cover
out very, very well, sort
Yeah.
of the industrial look contrasting with the original wood beams and posts.
Yeah, the wood beams are just spectacular. Now, tell us about your stacks. They're a little bit shorter than what you would see.
Yeah, a little shorter, which gives us this open view, which is a lot nicer. They're 5'6". This is a new kind of from the vendor. It's a 4-post. Usually you see the library cantilever stacks, and this 4-post stack is new. In fact, we're the first installation of it in BC.
Awesome.
So we're really happy with how that looks, and we like the kind of white look throughout the place.
Well, what I find is the white is reflecting all of the natural light coming in from the gorgeous windows, floor to ceiling, which are just magnificent.
Yeah, and that was part of the reason the lower cabinets, to bring that light all the way to the back.
Right.
of the
So there's
building,
no
not be
dull,
dark and
dingy area. Okay. Awesome. Now, the children's area.
Yes.
So adorable. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And you've got a cork floor in there and some area rugs.
Yeah, some area rugs, and actually a local carpet place did those for us. We gave a pattern, and they made those, so
Nice.
the pebble design. And Colin McRae from Base Camp did the tree that's in the back and the installation of the powder-coated animals along the wall and the rock and log, which was a
Nice.
very nice setting for story time.
And what about the tables? The tables are so unique.
Yeah, he also built those
he?
tables, and it's really nice, bent legs with a very nice banded top on them. He does very nice work, and we like those a lot.
That is awesome. All right, well, Terry, thank you so much for the tour of the new library. This is really, really spectacular. And I'm sure you guys are going to have years and years and years of just community gatherings and places. And you've got all the meeting rooms in the back. And
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks for coming over again, and you brought the sun again with you again.
Yes, I did. Every time we come, we bring the sun.
Yeah.
To sunny Powell River, to the Sunshine Coast. Thanks so much, Terry. You're watching Where You Live on Shaw TV. We will be right back. You are watching Where You Live. We are now here in Powell River, right on Marine Avenue, where all the action happens. This is Kathy McDonald with the Blackberry Festival 2017.
Right.
How many years now have you been doing it?
Well, I've been doing, this is my 11th year, but it's our 24th year this year.
24 years.
Next year will be our grand 25th anniversary. So
right.
we'll have a big celebration next year.
Fantastic. How could it get any bigger?
That's right. I don't know.
Seriously.
I don't know how we get any
It's
more
a
people
week
on the
long
street.
now.
Well, the street party we'll do something special for the street party.
And what
so
are the dates this year for the?
It runs from August 15th until the 20th.
Okay. And what are the highlights?
Well, we have a couple of new things this year. On the 15th at the Vault is Blackberry Trivia Night. So that's a new event. And then on Sunday as well as a new event is the Trail Riders are putting on a Blackberry Pancake Breakfast.
Nice.
But the highlight of the whole event, of course, is the street party on the Friday night.
Yes. Which
where
is
we have
outrageous.
about 20,000 people down here on the street.
Right. No cars, no trucks, just people.
Just
wall
people
to
and
wall
vendors,
people.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
lots of blackberries.
Yes, lots of blackberries.
Now, is the weather doing what you need it to do for the blackberries to come on right at the right
now
time?
it is, yes.
Okay.
But we need some moisture for them though, but it'll come.
Okay. All right. Now, what's your favorite part?
Organizing the whole event. It's fun. It's fun to talk to all the vendors and get everyone excited and see where everyone's going to be and talk to all the entertainers and see what they want to do this year, and just putting it all together is a lot of fun.
Now, who are some of the entertainers you have this year?
They're all local.
Okay.
All the entertainers. We've got a jazz band that Take 5 Jazz, and several other local, just small groups and things. But we've got usually about 10 different entertainers around the street.
Okay. Awesome. And in terms of some of the other vendors, like what is it that they're selling?
It's mainly food. People come down to visit and to eat. So there's lots of food vendors, arts and crafts, things like that.
Okay. And who makes the best blackberry pie?
Oh, I can't say.
Oh, come on.
One thing we do have that's a lot of fun is Quality Foods puts on a blackberry pie eating contest.
Yes.
Which is just a ton of fun. And there's two categories for small kids and older kids, and whoever wants to do it. But it's quite a lot of fun to watch that, so that's good.
You know what you should have is a blackberry pie contest for who can
Make
hit the mayor. No, like you should have the mayor sitting up on a chair.
Sounds good to me.
And you take a blackberry pie covered in whipped cream,
Okay.
and
Okay, I'll talk to the mayor about that.
and you can tell him it was my idea.
Okay, I
He'll
will.
appreciate that. I think that's a great idea to raise money
Yeah,
as a
we
fundraiser
can do some fundraisers.
for a local charity.
Perfect.
All right, so that for the 25th anniversary.
Okay,
I think
there
that's
you go.
a great
There
idea.
you go. That's a great
okay,
idea.
that's for next year. All right, so August 15th to the 20th.
20th.
Okay. And now on the weekend, there is a special Saturday-Sunday event as well.
Yes, it's an annual event as well. It's called Arts Alive in the Park.
Okay.
And it's down at Willingdon Beach, and it's all the local artists and just come out to show all their products and
What
stuff.
a magnificent setting
Yeah,
to
it's
have
beautiful
art.
down
It's
there.
just so majestic and lovely.
Yeah, it's very successful. They do a good job down there. So
Awesome. All right. Can you think of anything else we need to share?
just
Come early.
come early. We also have the fireworks on at 10:10 usually is what it is. So,
On Friday night?
Mhm,
On the Friday night. Okay.
And
All
Quality Foods puts that on as well.
Cool.
And it's better actually because the street party spread out a bit more. So it's
Okay.
some people come later for this, to stay and see the fireworks.
Right.
So that works out good too. So, but the
Awesome.
street's packed all night long. So.
And this year you're wearing a shirt called I Crushed It Blackberry
Yes.
Festival. And there was one you had last year, I Danced My Berries Off.
Party your berries.
Party
off.
your berries off. That's what it was. So are these going to be available for
Yes,
sale?
they're for sale.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, Kathy, thank you so much.
Oh, you're very
Really
welcome. Thanks for
appreciate it.
coming over and thanks for talking with us.
You're welcome. You're watching Where You Live. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Where You Live. I'm Mary Ruth Harris. Joining us once again here on the Orca Salish is it Salish Orca? Or
Salish Orca.
Salish Orca is Captain Michael Smith. Now, earlier we were up on the bridge, and now we're in the engineering room.
Engine control room.
Engine control room. Okay. Now I see some controls behind us. Now, are they just for here, or are they matching what's upstairs?
Well, we have a lot of duplication. So
Okay.
what you see here, we also have on the bridge, but the engineers have more of for their ability to manage all the machinery. So while we have one of those control consoles, they'll have 3 of them. But
Okay.
with regards to the fire suppression, fire detection, emergency management, we have exactly the same on the bridge as we have here. And then we have one more location, a damage control room down on the vehicle deck, where we can do all the same stuff with all that same equipment.
Okay. And then also on the bridge, you have controls for the bridge identical at either
That's right.
end, right?
Yeah. So we
Okay.
won't have any of those controls here. It's just basically a backup version of the propulsion control, because the engineers would
Okay.
not normally be driving the vessel, but we actually do have the ability for the engineers to drive the ship, and we would communicate with them and ask them to drive this way or that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In what scenario would you ask them to do that?
That would be in a complete total control failure.
Okay.
And which is extremely unlikely, and we normally would not be proceeding underway. We'd bring the vessel to a stop,
Okay.
bring ourselves to a safe place, maybe drop the anchor, figure out what the problem is, resolve it, and then continue on our way.
Okay. Now, the vessel is only been in British Columbia since early May, right?
Actually, it arrived here just after January.
Oh, just after January. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was docked in Vancouver
It
at
was
that point?
in our repair facility at,
Okay.
at what we call Dee's Dock up the Fraser River.
Okay.
It was there for a couple of weeks, and then we proceeded to Tsawwassen, and we did our training based out of Tsawwassen. And the reason for Tsawwassen is that we're very close to our service facility, so we can get a lot of support there to get work done.
okay.
Because the ship came over, but it's not fully fitted out. We had to do
Right.
a lot of our BC Ferries thing, our branding, have to do certainly a lot of our customer service area.
Right.
Put our BC Ferries logos, our signage, our equipment, all
Right.
that stuff still had to be fitted when it arrived here.
Okay. And how long after we've been operating fully will you feel like the ship is finally coming into its own? Because it is a new ship, so.
Well, we've done this quite a few times now. We've had the coastal class come in, we've had some northern vessels come in, and typically the feedback I'm getting, and in my previous career I did this a little bit too, it takes about a full year to get all the little wrinkles worked out just to
Okay.
the way you want it.
Okay. Now, what has the feedback been so far that you've heard from people coming and going?
Well, the passengers, they see just the passenger area.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we don't always get to show them everything else, but we take every opportunity we can to grab passengers. Sometimes I go around and say to some families, "Do you want to have a look up at the bridge?"
Yeah.
So people are always very impressed with the bridge. We can't take them down to the engine rooms, but we can usually show them a few pictures. And the feedback is generally very positive. The vessel is a bit different, and the vessel motion does take some people by surprise, as you said
Yes.
yourself this morning. So that's something that people have to get used to. But I think with familiarity, then people will become comfortable with it.
Now, are the engineers, is this level closer than it used to be? Like you guys are only one floor away from each other,
That's
but
right.
before it was quite a ways.
Yeah, the engineering deck was placed up here. It's a trend kind of worldwide. If you go to Norway and any of these European countries where these kind of vessels, they've kind of pioneered this type of ship where we got a lot of our ideas from.
Okay.
They've built it this way, and the idea is to increase that communication and cooperation between the engineering department and deck department. Certainly in an emergency, you're a lot closer to each other. It's a lot easier to communicate. And when the engineers were down on the engineering deck, it was kind of very distinct. So now we've brought the management team together, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it just makes for overall better communication.
That's right.
And access, right? Because you're
Yeah.
only one stairway
With the
away
old
from each
system,
other.
I might not see the engineer for an entire day unless I took a trip down there or the engineer came up.
Oh, okay.
So now we're able to have a lot more face-to-face communication. As we all know, face-to-face is a lot better way to communicate.
And I think based on all of the technology that is involved in the new vessel, I would think that that's really important.
It is very important. And even though we have a face-to-face, I might pop in here and ask the engineer what's going on about something, and then I'll be on the bridge, and then I'll be on the phone, and then I might come back down here and come face-to-face and talk out some of the issues again. So
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Has the new vessel presented any really big challenges for you?
Big challenges? No, other than customer perception.
Okay.
There was I would say that the lower vehicle deck was something that people had no awareness of. A lot of people didn't realize that the ship had 2 vehicle decks. So at first they thought the vessel was very small. Then they come onto the ship, they see our very large hatches down to our lower vehicle deck, which is very open, it's
It
spacious,
actually is, yeah.
it has large windows,
I was
very good
surprised.
ventilation, good lighting, and people have exactly that reaction. They're
Yeah.
surprised at the size. And I think they're surprised at the capacity. There was a lot of concern that the ship wouldn't be big enough, but we just did the BC bicycle bike race last
Yes.
Friday, and we got everybody across. And I think we had far less delays than we typically would have had with the Queen of Burnaby.
Okay.
Actually, I have the statistics, and I think with the Queen of Burnaby, we'd typically be an hour late.
Yeah.
And on the very first trip with the BC bike race, they were only about 17 minutes late.
Okay.
So it handles the traffic.
What is the capacity? Cars, trucks?
The vessel is rated as a 145 car ferry.
Okay.
But when you put a bunch of commercials, we put some semi-trucks, you put some campers on there,
Right.
that of course reduces the amount of vehicles. But that's
Okay.
the number that we use to compare our vessels.
Okay.
So 145 is what they rate the vessel at.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
You're
This has
welcome.
been very informative and really quite surprising in a good way. Thanks so much. You've been watching Where You Live. This will wrap up this portion of the show. We have one more little segment for you for the HMCS Alberni Museum and Memorial, so stay tuned for that. Welcome back to Where You Live. As promised, we are here at HMCS Alberni Museum and Memorial with Louis Bartholomew, founder and director. This is your new space. Absolutely spectacular.
Thank you.
I have no idea how you have so much stuff in here, but it looks amazing. It's so interesting and well organized. What do you love about this new space?
Well, what we really like about this new place is, first of all, is the architecture of the building itself. We were extremely fortunate to find this space. This building was built at the end of the Second World War using local timber, and we've made sure that in our renovations that we've made sure that we keep the ceiling and everything in the part of the original building exposed. This also enables us to take that same time period and place it in a natural environment here,
Right.
and gives a good traffic flow with our fixtures and things. We are a little bit more condensed than we have been in the past when we were located in Comox, but now that we're here in Courtenay, we are able to have more access to using smartphone technology. For instance, we all took training in the Google Translate application, which are going to is available here at the museum. So now we can speak over 100 languages, and all of our displays have been changed over so that they're readable by this application.
Oh, cool.
So we have more access to visitors.
Love
so
it.
far, we've been able to share our museum with visitors in Hindi, in Japanese, Chinese, and in German.
Amazing. That is fantastic. Now, the other really cool development for you is that the other museums, all the way to Campbell River, have now really embraced you and they're sharing and collaborating with you.
That's right. Now, our museum is part of the Comox Valley Museum Association,
Okay.
of which there are approximately 9 to 10, depending on the season, museums or interpretive centers here in the
Okay.
Comox Valley.
Awesome.
We cover a lot of different history here at the Comox Valley, and we all work together. If we have something to share or if we have an exhibit that the other museums can promote at a different time, we work really well together. Our summer exhibit this year is a collaboration of not only our expanded How I Long to See You, Great War exhibit, but we also brought in British Columbia's War, which comes to us from the Royal BC Museum in Victoria.
Awesome.
And then we also have some panels, samples from the Comox Museum from their 102nd Battalion Centennial that they had last year.
Awesome.
We've also got the cooperation of the Cumberland Museum and the Nikkei National Museum in Burnaby,
Okay.
as well as to put this exhibit together. So by having the
Awesome.
cooperation with all of these museums and everything we're able to give more to the public to see.
And what's this beautiful new display case behind you, that was donated to you from the Powell River Museum.
That is correct. Yeah.
See, I love everybody coming together and collaborating. That is just fantastic. Well, Louis, thank you so much. And just congratulations on this new space. I
Thank
love
you.
the technology tie-in. That is spectacular.
Wonderful.
All right, well, enjoy the summer and all the visitors.
Well, thank you, and you too. Goodbye.
All right, thanks so much for watching Where You Live. We will see you again soon.